Hey guys, I hope you're well. Today's video is about my fitness transformation. So I posted a photo and this video has been like the most requested video. I've been trying to film it for a very long time, like months and months and months, and I just keep putting it off, just being too scared and anxious to talk about my whole experience from childhood, school, college, and how like my weight started piling on and how I lost weight, and just giving you the full detail. So yeah, here it goes. I just really want to put this video out. So as a kid growing up, I never had trouble eating. I would literally eat anything. I loved eating. My parents used to feed me all the time, used to love feeding me. I would always eat around family's house. So I was always on the chubbier side growing up. And then when I started school, I got introduced to a lot of food that I fell in love with, like a lot of processed food. So I would eat like 5 digestive biscuits in the morning and then have cereal, and then go to school on like the school break, have like croissants and more biscuits, and then on my lunchtime eat again like white baguettes full of like cheese, and then come home, have dinner, and then have dinner again. So I would eat a lot and I didn't realize how much I was eating. So over time, I just used to consume more and more calories. But even though I was eating quite a lot, I was really active. Like I started doing ballet from like the age of 4, and I was really into dancing. I was dancing for about 10 years and I stopped when I decided to wear hijab. And dancing wasn't the only thing I did. I used to play basketball, used to play football, netball. So I was a really active child. Even though I was big, I was super active, and it's something that I gained confidence in and I lost it at the same time, because when I would put on shows or performances or tournaments, I would always be laughed at by kids sitting down or other school members watching, because I always used to stand out because I always used to be the biggest. I'll definitely include some pictures as much as I can throughout this video, just popping up on the screen of from childhood, like the whole process of how I looked and everything, and hopefully it'll just give you an idea. So yeah, where was I? Yeah, school. Yeah, so even though I was really active, I was very overweight, and I used to get, obviously it was really hard at school because I didn't have many friends, and I used to get bullied a lot. But it was really tough because it wasn't just in school that I was getting picked on. Like, you know, family members and people would always like say these like sly, hurtful jokes, and it would always like put your confidence down. So I always used to like keep to myself and keep in my room during my times off. And then I just woke up one day and I realized I was like 16 and a size 20, 22. I couldn't even before that, I couldn't even get my uniform from normal kids shop. I had to get my suits like tailored from menswear, like grown men's blazers for school, trousers, shirts, everything. And then I started learning more about like the health complications of gaining weight. I started to have breathing problems. So when I used to sleep, I used to struggle to breathe, and I used to wake up in the middle of the night and I couldn't breathe. My parents tried to take me to a dietitian during these times, and it just wouldn't work. It was too constricting, and it was scary because I didn't know anything. Like, I didn't know nothing about food, and I just felt like I was going to the dietitian, I was being tortured. Like, I just wanted to be free, left alone, eat what I want. Even though I did go to a dietitian, it didn't work because I didn't understand the real benefit. It felt like a punishment. I went to the doctors once and I was told that I was borderline diabetes, and I think that was the moment when it hit me the most. I was so young and I don't know why I had all these health complications, because I was also really active. So as you guys know, you cannot out-train a bad diet. No matter how active I was, if I was eating everything processed and eating so much of it every day, like, being active was never going to change anything for me. So yeah, I would always love like to eat chicken nuggets. I used to love burgers, used to love pizza. This would be every day, like frozen food, no vegetables, no not enough water. I used to love like Coke. I used to drink so much Coca-Cola, like maybe like 2 cans a day. And I didn't know like calories of food. I didn't know what like carbs, fats, and I didn't know what macros were. I didn't know anything. So I was just eating everything I wanted and everything I liked, just being very ignorant. And nobody, obviously, we had the occasional lessons at school about, you know, food groups and this, that, but, you know, it never really sat at heart with me until I was told that I had this and this wrong with my health. I started to work out, to play on my Wii a lot. So obviously I still love dancing. Like, from kid, it's always been like such a big passion for me. So I used to play like dancing games on the Wii, and it was something I enjoyed. So I would love doing it. It wouldn't be like a chore for me, or like running on a treadmill all the time and this, that. So I was enjoying, you know, playing and working out at the same time. And then I would do it every single day and all the time. And then I signed up for a gym because I think prom was coming up and I was really big and I wanted to wear a nice dress, which I will include here. And I have to cut out my hair because I wasn't wearing a sharp turn either. So yeah, so when prom started, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be like the biggest one, and you know, I wanted to look pretty and all of this kind of stuff. And then yeah, I started to go to the gym. So I didn't really know what to do in the gym. I was like the most hopeless case you could ever imagine. When I got to the gym, I would literally just run on the treadmill. I would do that for an hour every single day. And even when I didn't have days that I could attend to the gym, I would still attend the gym. I'd wake up at 5 before college, before my lessons started, and I would run to the gym for an hour, run on the treadmill, having not eaten anything, fasting, and come home and then shower, get ready, and go about my day. And it started to get very excessive, because I started to see results of me losing weight in not a good way, but I still lost weight, and I liked it because I started to get compliments like, oh, you know, you're losing weight, you look good, from family and friends. So I thought, like, yeah, what I'm doing is right. Like, yeah, people can see the change, it's good, like, you know, I should keep going. So every day I would keep doing so much cardio, and I literally stopped eating. Like, I went through a phase where I would limit my food. It got very serious and I stopped eating. So I would still go to the gym and burn like 700 calories fasting, and eat about not even 700 calories in a day, like much, much less. And this continued for a long time. I kept on losing weight and I kept on getting compliments from it. So I thought what I was doing was right, and it really wasn't, because okay, so there was a time where I got invited to like a dinner. I think it was with family. Yeah, I got invited to a dinner with family, And I remember, like, as you guys know, in like Turkish culture, or I know it's very common in loads of other cultures, cakes and snacks and all these like goodies and bad food, made treats, and like these loads of bread, loads of pasta, loads of like, it was a very like carb heavy. Obviously in these events and these like parties and gatherings, like family take full offense if you don't eat anything. Even though I didn't want to eat anything, I remember even the thought of eating like pizza and all this bad food made me feel I don't even know. I was having a nervous breakdown at the thought of eating a slice of cake, so it got really bad and I felt forced to eat it, so I did. And then I just remember beating myself up so hard after it. I was so upset and I was so angry and I was on the verge of crying. So I remember I ran to the bathroom and I would purposefully make myself throw up. So yeah, this is how I became bulimic. I ran to the bathroom and I threw up because I just felt like so disgusted with myself. Like, how can I do that? Like, all this hard work I've done, I'm gonna go back to gaining so much weight because I had this one slice of cake. I'm an awful person. My body's gonna hate me for this. And I would think all these horrible and negative thoughts, and I would literally just mentally start deteriorating in the most absurd ways. All this stuff was in the dark. Nobody realized, like nobody around me. Everyone just saw me losing loads of weight. And after that day, I remember I left I left the event and the gathering and I ran to the gym. Came home, got changed, and I ran to the gym because I felt so guilty. I've never felt that guilty before in my life. I can't even explain like how guilty I felt. Just even though we all came back up, I still felt the need to go to the gym. So I ran to the gym and I ran on the treadmill and did another hour, bearing in mind I already did an hour in the morning, and I was just burning so much muscle, so much fat at the same time, so much everything. And now that I think of it, it's just so scary, like how you could do all of that and not know what the implications it has. So after that, I started to go into a cycle of like binge eating. So what I would do is I would still do my 1 hour of exercise a day, and then I would have days where I eat whatever I want. So from there, I would eat nothing for like 5 days. I just eat like salad and that's it, literally for the whole day. I'd still do my hour of cardio, and then from there I would allow myself a cheat day. And it was a cheat day, not even a cheat meal, it was a cheat day. So I would eat whatever I want once a week, and then the rest of the week practically starve myself. And this cycle, I felt better than not eating anything for 7 days made me very sad, very moody, very uptight, very like reserved. And it's not just the physical implication food has on you, like mentally it changes you. If you're not feeding your brain, you cannot function. Like, if you're going through the same thing, like your brain alone needs 700 calories, like please take that in, just your brain. So let alone your entire body, your brain needs 700 calories. So bearing in mind I was burning that and burning a lot more throughout the day because I was very active, and I wouldn't even eat that. So you could imagine how like hard my body was crashing, and I was so tired all the time as well. So I would eat practically nothing and work out so hard. It was a really tough time. And okay. So back to the cheat days. From there, I I would have one day cheat day, as I mentioned, and then I slowly started liking this new kind of thing that I was on, because I saw loads of people doing the same thing where they literally ate nothing, like on Instagram, for example. So many diets, so people put out so many diets and so many programs that get so much media coverage, and I tried things that I would certainly not recommend or sell to anyone, because these long-term effects are not worth it at all. And they, like, yes, you might lose weight, but just because you lose weight physically, it does not mean you're healthy. Just because you're thinner or you're a smaller size does not mean you're healthy. So you could be losing, like I mentioned, it's not just fat you're losing, you're burning your muscle, you're burning so much more. From there, I started to get into a vicious cycle where I would binge eat. So I would go on and off binge eating, and I was still bulimic as well at the same time. So I'd be binge eating throughout the whole day, like having fun, doing this, and I would still, at the end of the day, feel like crap and, try throw up all my food every so often. And I think once my mum caught me and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, nothing, I just felt sick." And she knew I was lying. And from here, everyone started to tell me "Oh, you're getting a bit too thin, you should slow down, calm down." And my parents started to tell me "You're losing weight a bit too fast." They started to see that I was becoming obsessed with losing weight. When I was at my slimmest, I think I do have a picture and I'll insert it here somewhere, I really wanted to weight train. It looked amazing, and I remember going to the gym was the scariest thing I could ever imagine. I used to stand outside the weight room and just watch people from the little window and just see what everyone's doing, and I could never, not even stepping foot, I just used to stand and look quickly and go, because it was full of men, full of they had a few girls obviously, but they were already in great shape. And I felt so outcasted for so many reasons. After doing all the cardio I did, I stuck downstairs in the gym and I never went upstairs, which was the weight room. I would go upstairs because the lockers were there, and I would just peek through the window and look at everyone and then just disappear. Until one day I was like, "Do you know what? I'm gonna go into the weight room." So bearing in mind I didn't have anything planned. I've seen videos of people using weights in the gym and stuff, but I didn't have anything planned. So this is an embarrassing story, but the first day I went into the weight room, I remember all eyes were on me, because I was a hijabi. I did my full hijab, and I was wearing loads of layers, and I was obviously 17 at the time, and I'm 20 by the way now, and I was just looking at the floor. I saw everyone look at me, and I would just look at the floor and keep walking. I remember bumping into one of the pillar things in the middle of the room, and just just really embarrassing myself. But even after that, I just stayed down, looked down, didn't look at anyone, and walked straight to bench press, because it looked really cool and I really wanted to try it. So there's a bar on the bench, and I was like, okay, let me just try the bar, because and then maybe I should add weights after. So I tried the bar and I lifted it, and I didn't realise the bar was 20 kg. Nobody told me the bar was 20 kg. I didn't look at, the other back at the bar. It has a little 20 kg sign. Did not see that. So I just went straight and I lifted it up and I dropped it on myself. So I dropped it on my chest and I couldn't get it off. So you can imagine I was obviously quite weak, bearing in mind I lost so much weight, I burnt so much muscle, and now I just tried to go to the gym and lift weight of having no energy. And I remember guys coming and pulling it off and telling me just be careful. And I remember inside I just felt crumbling, because I just felt I just made a fool out of myself and I was being such an idiot. I just wanted to leave. So I remember after that I just felt so shy and embarrassed. I ran back to the bathroom and I just sat there in the toilet and I cried. And I cried for like a good 20 minutes or so, and then I came back out. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. And I went back in and I started trying out different machines, and I was using them very wrong. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just kept on looking down and I continued trying to absorb as much information in the gym as possible, not looking at anyone. So I would look at the machines, and you know they have like the little instructions sometimes, or like how you should be positioned on the seat. So I remember trying leg curls, and I was like, okay, this is cool. Oh, you increase the weight like this. And then from there, I did a few exercises, dropped a few times, dropped a few weights, and then I went home and I felt good that I finally managed to step into the weight room. But I felt like I didn't know anything, and everyone was so advanced and I was just there like not knowing a thing. But then I remember like something hit me when I realised, you know, these guys that are really advanced in gym, they weren't born like that. They were in the same position as everyone else when they start going to the gym or they start any sports. Okay, some people are naturally gifted in terms of sports, as well as genetics play a tiny part. But it's all down to, like, it's basically all down to your training and your practicing. So all these people that were really advanced and did have big muscles, and these girls that had these tiny waists and nice round glutes, and I realised like these guys worked hard for it. They've been here longer than me, but I've just started, so I need to stop comparing myself to these people or people I see online, because I'm not there yet. That's not where I am yet. I'm in my own lane and my own race, so I will continue to keep trying, keep going, and see how it goes. So I looked at them for inspiration instead of like comparing myself, and from there, like, I slowly started to decrease the amount of cardio I was doing in the gym, and I slowly started to learn more about how to weightlift and how I should exercise properly. And from there, I kind of gradually found a nice balance of both. And one day I remember, I don't know if he's watching this, but one of the personal trainers that used to be Easy Gym approached me and probably saw that I was really timid and tried to make me feel quite comfortable. Said like, hey, why don't you try deadlifting? So I was like, oh, that looks so cool. Like, I've seen so many videos and I want to try it. So he told me like how I should deadlift and corrected my form, and I really liked it, and I was like, wow, okay. So this was like a month down the line of me going gym by myself, and then from there, that's how I kind of got into training in a bit of like a powerlifting way. So yeah, I started squatting heavy some days, I started deadlifting heavy some days, I started benching heavy some days, which I don't really do anymore, military press some days. My diet started to be a bit more relaxed, because there comes a point where your body is just going to be like, I'm not accepting you being really, really restrictive anymore. So from there, I was just, you know what, I'm not going to be on a diet anymore. My body was not responding the way I wanted it to. I was always tired in class. I would fall asleep in class all the time because I wasn't eating enough, and I would barely eat any carbs. And now like carbs are like my best friend. And yeah, so I just feel really lethargic all the time, really tired, really exhausted. And from there, my relationship with food started to get a lot better. I used to view food as a way of fueling my body rather than restricting my body. When I did that, that's when my mindset changed. Think of food as serving a purpose to your body. So if you think of food like that, you will naturally be inclined to eat healthy, but still have your times where you want to eat the food that you want, you know, you want to eat like a cake or whatever you want, but just kept to a minimum. And through this, I stopped the binge eating and I stopped being bulimic, bearing in mind at the time that I didn't know I was bulimic. I didn't even know what bulimia was until I was told. And from there, the more information I started to gather, the better my healthy lifestyle became. And I cut down the amount of times I was training because it was too much and I was too exhausted. So I just cut down to like 5 days a week, and then from there it was like exam season and things were coming up, so I couldn't go to the gym as much. And I was like going like 3 times a week, twice a week, and I just found a nice easy balance. Consistently stuck at training and eating how I want. I didn't follow any diet. When I saw my real results, I didn't follow much diet, and that's when I started to build muscle and look better. I focus more on how I look now rather than the scale. And when I started weight training, I realised my skin started to look a lot better because I lost weight really quick, really fast, and that led me to have loose skin. And through weight training, it literally got rid of like 80% of it. So that was like, that made me really happy. And you know, it took a long time because I didn't have someone to feed me the how do I say, like, if you have a nutritionist or a personal trainer or someone who can just someone who you trust who can feed you all the information at once, your progress will be a lot quicker if you're dedicated and willing to learn. But I was on this journey completely by myself. When I started to weightlift, I started to learn how to track macros. So when I started tracking macros, I found it quite restrictive as well, because you have to be, food turns into numbers, and I did it for quite some time by like tracking calories, tracking the amount of fats, carbohydrates and protein I eat. And then I realised, you know what, like, this isn't the life I want to live. Like, I want to go travelling, I want to experience new things. So from tracking my macros and calories every single day, I slowly started to not track them in the best way possible for me. Like, I would have a few days, like split my week, maybe 4 days I'm tracking macros and 3 days I'm eating healthy, I'm eating good, but I'm not thinking constantly about numbers and looking at food like, oh my god, this and this doesn't add up. No, I can't eat that. Okay, now I have to run up the stairs 15 times so I can just burn a bit of that food off. Like, I take it as just take it as it comes. Like, as long as you're happy and you're healthy, that's all that matters. Numbers are a great thing when you have a specific goal, when you want to reach a specific weight. If that's something you really want, then yes, definitely track macros. Definitely macros was really good for me. Let me tell you why. Because I gained a lot of awareness of food. I gained a lot of knowledge of the content of this and the content of that. And when I became more aware, that's when I could slack not counting macros, because I kind of got the gist of how much I was eating in a day, like I do now. Even though I don't feel the need to track macros every day, I still get a gist of how much I'm eating per day. And when I started to do this, I started to gain weight again. So it was good weight. I was gaining some muscle and I liked it, so kept going with it. And I did get into weightlifting. My brother was also attending gym. I don't know if you've seen, sometimes I've been to the gym with my brother and we filmed together. And from there, our household eating habits started to change. We convinced my mum to start cooking more healthy, and you know, instead of using like sunflower oil, use olive oil, coconut oil, all these, like, you know, much better, dense in nutrition, good food, instead of, you know, taking like, you know, vegetables and just drowning them in oil, you know, turning something good bad. And from there, our household started to eat a bit more healthy. But even though me and my brother would eat healthy, there would still be so many snacks in the house. Like, even now, we have a whole cupboard full of junk food, like chocolates, sweets, crisps, cakes, this, that, and my mom loves bake. Like, so yeah, as I mentioned, my mom used to love baking, and she still does, and there was a lot of unhealthy baking, of course, like loads of pastries and cakes. I've mentioned cakes so many times, but yeah, I was a big cake eater. Loads of chocolates and all these yummy, like, tasting foods. And there just comes to a point where you say no. Like, even if it's right in front of you, which it is in front of me, like, every day, you have to build the willpower yourself to say no. In the beginning, it's very hard, but once you stop having these foods so often, the bad habit of food slowly starts to break. Like, was it like 21 days to form a habit? So if you can hold out from excessively eating junk food for 21 days, not fully restrict yourself, you will not feel the need. I remember not feeling the need to eat it anymore and just looking past it and not craving it all the time. Like I said, eat to fuel your body, eat to serve a purpose to your mind, your skin, your body, everything, mentally. And once you start, you will have respect for your body and respect of it serving a purpose to you. Your body is always trying to rebuild itself. Your skin is always trying to rebuild itself. Your organs are always trying to just naturally detox itself from everything bad that you eat. So if your body loves you this much, then you need to love it back too. Because it does, so we don't even realize, like, our bodies naturally do so much for us, and you just going and abusing and harming and treating it badly by practically poisoning yourself with too much processed food or too much junk food. It should be too much processed food or too much junk food. It should be mutual. You should take care of yourself. Now I do post when I eat bad food. Like, I do eat processed food. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. I don't eat healthy all the time, and I'm happy. I went from being unhealthy to unhappy to being healthy and happy. Eating carbs makes you happy. I'm sure you guys know. But yeah, never focus on a physical goal so much that you give up your mental state. Like, this could have all been prevented if I just found a balance in the beginning and just made small changes instead of going all out on one way, like, and going down like a really bad route and a bad path. But yeah, so my advice to you guys is, if you are a beginner, just start making realistic changes and try not to follow numbers. Track your progress with how you feel. So if you feel energetic, if you feel good, if your skin feels great, don't religiously stick to numbers, because it does play a horrible game in your mind, and it's not something that anyone should have to go through. So yeah, I guess if I didn't have this fitness journey, I wouldn't be able to share it with you guys and try and help you guys, or I guess it served a purpose in one way. Yeah, so this video was super long and I'm so sorry, but I hope you really enjoyed it, and till next time.